Welcome again to another episode of theishden, Familiar Faces. And again, we apologize for the over a year plus of absence. We hope that you enjoyed the last program. We're having the same conversation in the same space, but you're seeing it at two different times. Yeah. So we want to just again, in case we get the backlash, we are not by any means trying to demean our mothers, trying to put down the females who stood beside us in our lives. We are just looking at some of the realities that are out there. We didn't make up these circumstances, but we have seen them at different times. I'm here with the one and only Napoleon, Mr. Black, right? Pastor Black. As you can hear, wealth of knowledge, and we're just keeping this kind of vibes going. We are not saying that we are experts. By no means are we saying that we are experts, but we're trying to have a conversation, inviting you into the conversation, and then hopefully it can spark a conversation or something else in your life that can be meaningful. So welcome again, bro. Last time we looked at my mother who wounded me, and just kind of touched the surface of mother wounds and how these can manifest in a person's life. No, we're going to touch a topic that most men, I've never ever in my life, right? Here are a young man who talk about his first sexual experience and wish it never happened. I've heard many females say, boy, I wish even when it was voluntary. Right? Because we you know the situation of sexual abuse in Jamaica. I didn't know it was such a prevalent thing until I just started talking to females in the space. No stats or studies, but just talking to different females as friends, and you know them opening up and said, this happened to me, that happened to me. I didn't know that it was so prevalent in my circle. I might say when I was a young boy, like about 25, and having those conversations. You know, seeing a young lady and thinking, I like you. And as soon as you start to get close and I feel comfortable, I'm hearing these stories, and I'm saying, I didn't think it was this widespread. But why would I, as a young man, speak negative about my first sexual experience when society tell me, you're dopes?
Good thing.
Yeah, man. If you have sex before you're 10, which is happening a lot, in my circle, definitely in Glendevon, it happened a whole heap, right? Why does my first sexual experience need to be discussed if we're talking about healing and moving forward and these kind of things? It shows I'm good.
Yeah, you're rich.
Yeah.
Come.
I'm a badge. You know, I'm a scout badge.
Yeah. But maybe we should also say, Bobby, that it's a PG conversation we're having.
Yes.
We need to say
not made for children.
This is not. This is an adult conversation.
Yeah.
Even though the content is about that stage of development where persons are not, those to whom it has happened, are not in a position to make any informed consent.
Yeah.
Are not able to even think through the issues for themselves. But a part of our cultural narrative here in Jamaica, and certainly the Caribbean, has been the right of some persons to suppose that because of their place in persons' lives, that they have the right to sexual encounter, if it can be called sexual encounter, rather than power control and all of those sets of issues. We normally address these in terms of male dominance and male control and so on. As a marriage counselor, especially that premarital component, what I have found, and Bobby's talking about his own experiences too. And of course, because of where we are, most of our stuff is anecdotal.
Yeah.
We have seen that a significant number of our men are admitting with shame, many of them, because this is not something that many can be proud of, or in any way, shape, or form, or even hold as a badge of honor in any way, shape, or form. That very often, the first person who touched them sexually, inappropriately, was a close female, a mother, an auntie, a close female relative. And it takes different forms. It takes different forms. It's not a doctor saying it's a boy.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. It's not a medical professional dealing with anything to do with the male organ, but somebody who has expressed interest in that child, 10 years old, 5 years old, some even earlier, 2 years old, and some even younger, where they begin to play with the boy's penis.
Yeah.
He's not able to understand it. He's not able to express anything. And the penis being played with, sometimes an erection emerges. And he is not even sure what is happening with his body or to his body. But that mother, that auntie, that sometimes sister,
Yeah.
who is fondling him, she herself is getting pleasure. She herself is expressing some form of excitement, because that powerless child is under her influence and control.
Yeah.
And she gets to do anything she wants to do with him. So it begins with just holding that little boy's penis, touching it in a stimulative kind of way, and in some instances trying to get that little boy to get so sexually aroused, so that sexual intercourse is in some measure possible. So these have been some of the realities, and some of our boys, as they were then, not understanding what had happened, have grown into men, young men, adults, with a skewed sense of their own sense of sexuality, have grown with a sexual damage, and many of them have not overcome, and have felt less than because of the related self-esteem issues, self-worth issues, self-value issues that have emerged because of how a mother, a sister, an aunt, a relative, female, have treated them in those formative stages.
And I think those are the ones where the familial relationships are concerned, that you will not hear.
We don't hear.
If it's with the girl next door, an older girl in the community, you'll hear those with the boast behind it. But the ones which really do the damage, I guess they all do the damage once it is again not consented, and at that age, the boy can't consent.
Be any consent.
Somewhat, even society may shield the offender from being prosecuted, because I'm not sure how well that would argue in a court of law, in terms of the age of consent is really about girls,
protecting girls. Regrettably.
So these things can become normalized because society doesn't talk about it. There is no legal recourse that one can seek where these things are concerned. So I have had this experience. Who do I tell? How do I? Why? Again, we have to go back to the conversation. If it is normal, society has normalized it. Why do I need to make an issue of it if society has normalized it?
We have to make an issue of it for several reasons. One, it's damaging. When we begin sexual experiences and we expose our children, boys in particular, in this kind of way, we are damaging them for life. We are damaging them in terms of how they understand issues of sex and sexuality.
Yeah.
We're damaging them in terms of how they begin to see the family structure later on when they themselves become adults and all of that. We're damaging their thinking. We're damaging how they understand themselves as sexual beings and the implications thereof. So that there are a lot of hurt that result from that early stage of abuse, of fondling, of inappropriate touching, of even when it is thought of as light. We're not the one, and what does that see what him penis look like, or see if him penis can stand up and so on. And sometimes when we do those things, we do not realize the extent to which we are imposing something on that child that he's not ready for.
Yeah.
You know? So there are those sets of issues on the one hand. On the other hand, why is a mother fondling a child? What's the point? Why is a sister doing that? And usually, and obviously an older sister would be doing that to her little brother.
Yeah.
Why? And so we have to go back to an understanding of what is happening in the family structure, in the family makeup, that disposes women to do these things to boys. Is it power? Is it something within the psyche that disposes people to seek pleasure in that kind of way, and its implications?
Yeah.
What is it in the culture that makes us aghast that a girl is sexualized, but the boy is not to talk about it? You know, so these are some of the realities that we have to process. And again, as Christians, we have only talked about fornication and adultery.
Yeah.
And some of these critical issues. I'm thinking, for instance, of a girl who was molested in her body. And the church put her out. Underage. She was molested, she got pregnant, and the church put her out.
Yeah.
How? How in the paradigm of a caring culture do you say to a little girl that was, for all intents and purposes, carnally abused, that the community to which you and I belong, instead of being nurturing and caring and supporting and comforting and liberating, we make her feel worse because of what had happened to her?
Yeah.
But what is before us now, though, is what happens when the female does this, particularly to the male, and how do we as community interact with that reality?
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things. I hear Jones talking about the whole thing of females are not taught to take no for an answer, and boys are not taught to give no as an answer. And then you bring both of those persons within a certain setting, and how toxic it becomes. I've had friends who, because sometimes the helper becomes a part of the family.
Yes.
This long-standing person who gives care, and he couldn't wait to leave school to go home.
Right.
Because it was a part of his evening ritual. And sometimes we have some conversation, I hear him say certain things, you know, and you look at it, and I've oftentimes wonder, I mean, we joke about it, because again, it's the whole bragging rights, and he sees it as a brag. But does this feed into the whole, we spoke about gender last week or earlier in the previous episode. Does this lend to, again, gender deformity? Can it manifest or express itself in sexual orientations that are not akin to what the scripture talk about? If it doesn't go to that extent, can we see any link or any danger of the male who, because apparently men are supposed to be dogs and just chase down every female dog them see down the road. But can we maybe make any link to this perverted, because promiscuity is as perverted as homosexuality, really. Where the I am not seeking a one woman, but I just want to express this thing, because sexuality for me, there's no value to it.
Yeah.
There's no value to
and
it.
we've heard that, but maybe if we were to take a biblical paradigm to the conversation, and we don't maybe talk about it enough, what Mrs. Potiphar tried to do with Joseph.
Yeah.
And we don't see that as frightening and as devastating as what
Amnon to Tamar. Yeah.
You know, we don't. But there is the seed of this destructive element that inheres in some women to want to exploit men sexually, to want to have him as hers for all intents and purposes, as a part of her game, as a part of her play. And then we have to go to a psychology to understand that kind of thinking that makes a woman want to do that, whether it is to a little child, or to an employee. But for our conversation, it's why would a woman, why would a mother do that to her son? I would like to suggest that a part of the problem is just that we become dispensable. And I don't mean to be unkind, I don't mean to be unpleasant on this. It is seen in the girl who bears a child and throws it in a toilet pit. It is seen in a girl bearing a child and just leaving at the side of the road, and so on. Does it say that there's something in that kind of thinking that, I know we're not doing apples and apples here, but just to make the point, how do we process that kind of thinking where it's done, whether or not it's okay, it's done. You have done this. Why? How do we answer that why in your thinking that caused you to have done this? How do we answer what made you thought it was okay, if not okay, permissible? Because you must have given yourself some kind of permission, some kind of justification to do this. What justified this act? And a part of what we will have to do as thinkers is to sit down and ask ourselves these hard questions. We can't start with that child because that child is not able to process it. And sometimes our women are not even willing to talk about it. So we are kind of left on our own to process, to ask ourselves, why would a woman do this? Why would a sister do this? Might be different from why an auntie would do it. Might be different from why the helper would do it. But every single one of them, in a defining way, is contributing to the destruction of a life in a critical kind of way. You know,
I think that is a good place to point it to. The destruction of a life.
Yes.
Again, men are always using, maybe fallacious to say always, but as the perpetrator.
Yes.
We are the perpetrators. We are the only ones who can use sex as a weapon.
Yes.
And you are saying that it can be weaponized even by a female.
Absolutely. As early
as
any woman wants to.
Yeah.
And it is this that makes some of our men, not by any means excusing anything that any man may do, but invariably, when we plant the seeds, there's only one thing that can grow from it. More hurt, more pain, more destructive behavior. And you'll hear us say it here, not because we take any pleasure in seeing it, but the studies show this all the time. Hurt people.
Yeah.
And we're not saying so in every case, because we also know of cases
Yeah, man.
where people have been wounded, people have had some horrible things done to them, and they never carried the narrative.
Yeah.
But we're saying that what we see generally is that when you begin to hurt a youth at 2 and 4 and 7 in this exploitative kind of a way, when that is planted in him, he does not think any other way but to think that exploitation is normative.
Yeah.
You know? And that is what we're challenged with, and this is what we're trying to answer, especially when it comes to that part of the conversation we never usually try to have: why women sexually abuse boys and young men at that early age and stage of development.
Yeah. What I think, what I'm hearing from this, bro, is we have had the sexual revolution, which was a secular phenomenon. I've never heard of a sexual reformation within the church.
Absolutely.
And that would lend to some definition of what healthy sexuality and what healthy sex is for both males and females.
Yes.
Because definitely what we hear is adultery and fornication, as you say.
Right.
But definitely the skewing, even how preachers preach, don't make the boy use you, and it's always about that.
Right.
Yeah? And we are saying that it has to be now something that is, the gender is taken out of it, and the person, the image bearer, male or female, is looked at, and the implications of sexual misconduct in that person's life.
Even the issue of intimate partner violence. When you hear that, you think man beating woman.
Yeah.
But the studies have shown us that it is pretty equal. There are as many women beating men as women beating men, men beating women. In that sense, which says that the weapons, we have been weaponized equally so at different points. And when the conversation only happens on one side, it gives the impression it's just that group doing it. But we want to bring some more conversation to see what is happening here. Why are men equivalently being the thing that they know they shouldn't be in that space? And then who are perpetuating it? Clearly women, mothers, sisters, the female helper, the female relative. So we have to go again and look at how we're shaping family life and home conversations, and how family life and home conversations very often leave out what's happening with the male. And pull back the curtains to see and to understand how even more intense it must be to get that little boy to an erection. Not to downplay what happens to the girl. But just to highlight it, identify it, and to raise the issues now of his own confusion and uncertainty about, so I am stimulated for pleasure, not for myself, but for somebody else's and my own destruction. And how that shapes his own thinking and his own self-understanding, and what happens later on when he tries to find sexual satisfaction and pleasure in these ways that are unhealthy, destructive, and ultimately counterproductive to the well-being of society.
Are we trying to play the victims, trying to get a day out of it, or a movement, the Me Too movement, or because again, society is saying, are we not just maybe trying to come up with an issue where there's none? What importance is my first sexual experience in terms of shaping me for tomorrow?
For the Christian narrative has always been the sanctity of sexual experience, the and how your sexual experiences
Yeah.
play into your self-understanding. We begin an understanding of ourselves first as sexual beings. What does it mean that I'm a sexual being? And what are the factors that inform me being a sexual being? What are the factors that enhance it? And what are the factors that deform it?
Yeah.
And I believe that if we begin to see the issues there, if I live in a safe space in terms of being protected from abuse, obviously society benefits.
Yeah.
If I live in a space as a male where all I experience is sexual abuse, watch me become angry. Watch me become resentful. Watch me become bitter. Watch me begin more often than not to lash out and to hurt and to maim and to damage others because of what has happened to me. The victim victimizes. So no, we're not trying to get a male Me Too movement. But we're recognizing that just as a matter of reality,
Yeah.
that our men have been hurt, and our men, if the issues are not brought to fore and dealt with, the spiral is going to continue.
Yeah. You made a point earlier, which is where I would beg maybe for people to consider what you are saying, because I am one of those persons who believe that the main issues Jamaica is facing and many societies is a man issue. And we are saying, look at what feeds the man who is out there committing the murder, the rape, being dysfunctional, and these are some of the issues we are trying to unearth.
Yes.
Not to cast blame, but to help to fix the issue,
Yes.
being the male. Many people would agree with us. Are the man them a kill off?
Yeah.
You won't think twice of saying that the issues in society, when you look at the numbers, the persons who are the perpetrators for crimes, especially grievous crimes and murders, males, mostly males.
But we're looking at the end product.
Yes.
We're looking at end product.
Yes.
And we have to step back and say, what are the causative factors?
That is what we are doing.
Yeah.
Are trying to do.
Yeah, or is trying to do. So at least have a conversation. If we want men to kill less, then let's see if we can work at causing him to be less angry.
Yeah.
If we want men to rape less, let's see what may be the contributing factors. No, that is not to say that there's not the exercise ultimately of the will.
Yeah.
But we have to appreciate as well that issues of will and so on very often are influenced by other factors as well. So sometimes we talk to people about their willpower. You have the will to do this and so on. But as well, will is informed and will is conditioned by other factors. And we have to have a conversation about some of those factors that help to contribute to the end product.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it is enlightening when you can think along these paths. So you're not left trying to put everything in one test tube, but you recognize that the human being subsists on various levels, and whatever we go through, primarily in the formative years, tend to inform the years afterwards.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is one of them things where we're saying, let's have the conversation. Now, I listened to this, watch this. My baby mother or girlfriend or somebody sent this to me. And I recognize that, yeah, mommy, auntie, sister, female cousin touch me inappropriately. Where do I go? How do I? Because, baby, I can't even go to my pastor. Because you have to talk about years ago. Leave it alone.
Or let's pray about it.
Yeah. Where do I go? How do I seek and get help? And what should help look like as well?
Right. Yeah. Where do I go? We are having this conversation to say, let's first of all, let's heighten awareness about the issue, because a lot of our men are hurting.
Yeah.
Where do I go? Again, for men, it's difficult. And we can say find a space to have the conversation, but even that is difficult to do. Where do I go? Give us a call. Talk. Let's. You hear us say it's safe to talk to us.
Yeah, man.
About it. Link with us. Send us a note. Drop us a line. We are available. So start the conversation with us. Where can I go? There are men who are willing to talk with you. Men who you can repose that kind of confidence in, to say, yeah, this is my story and I don't feel judged. I don't feel that you're laughing at me. I don't feel put down. We can identify or help you to identify those brothers who will begin that conversation with you. Where can I go? You can look for formal help. You can look for formal help in the formal counseling establishment and so on. So there are avenues for you as a male to begin to have the conversation and to start the conversation about seeing yourself differently, because the pain is real. The hurt is deep. How you see and understand sex and sexuality has been informed by some of those formative experiences. And how do you overcome the anger, the rage, the bitterness, the resentment, and how do you deal with issues of self-forgiveness and forgiving others who have hurt you and so on. So yes, start the conversation. Send us a note. Give us a call. We can direct you to persons who can help you as well in the process. Or we can refer you and have a conversation about organizations and groups that you can talk to and to help you work through some of those issues. We might also want to say that sometimes there is no short-term solution to what you're going through. We understand that this solution for many is going to be long-term. The solution is going to take some time, some process to work through. And we understand that. But yeah, there is help and you can be supported through what you're going through.
And you know, this is why we have decided to come back into this space to offer help, to say, I oftentimes boast and tell people that one of the best things about me is the fact that I know people in just about every single parish who I can direct somebody to. So reach out to us. You know, you can send us a note on YouTube, or you can drop me a line at, let me use Damsel Arise, DAMSELARISE at gmail.com. That's going to be temporary. I got to do a theishden one. So you'll see it along the screen. Because we need to have the conversation. And we are saying to men's ministry presidents as well.
We'll come.
We'll
come.
Bring us into the space. You know, again, we have to make hay while the sun shines, or while the government allows us to do these things. We'll come in. We have Black Fight that does different conferences throughout the year. Reach out. That I do believe that between us there is enough. We have the resources. We have persons we can call on. We have people we can direct it to. And we will come and do a conference. We will come on the training with your male leaders to help and identify these issues, because that is why we have opened the space. We hope that this conversation has at least caused you to think about the possibility that this may be something that you are going through, or you know someone who may be going through this thing. And we are here to assist. So again, theishden, please like, share, and subscribe. This is the space. Anything to say before we close out?
That's it.
So we're there for help. We are here to help. And we have different ministries. As I said, Black Fight does a wonderful, wonderful job, headed by my bro. And I have seemed to found my way as one of the presenters whenever we do this. But something I really enjoy doing. And I enjoy the chemistry. This has been a healing relationship for me. Right, and we're not leaving out the Teddy Jones and the Brent James, and we brought in an older brother who we're praying for going through his thing. The Austin Henry and these kind of people. And Courtney Richards, big up himself as well too. Yes, so this is a space that we are talking out of our experiences. We have been there for each other, been the shoulder to lean on. I just saw a picture resurfaced last month from our trip in South Africa. And I was legit leaning, I don't remember whose shoulder I was legit leaning on. Right. But it's that, and it is a real thing.
Authentic.
Authentic. A space that we have helped each other through. And I believe that we are going to be helped only when we have these authentic new communities within the general new community. All right, so until next time, this is Tibor signing out. And again, my bro, my partner in righteousness, Napoleon.